So in CR, there are two major topics you have to cover. Covering these two topics means covering the entire critical reasoning. So the first topic is argument construction and argument evaluation. And second thing is formulating and evaluating a plan of action. So these are the two major topics covered in the critical reasoning. All the questions, they come under these two categories. Okay, right. So first of all, I'm going to take you through argument construction and argument evaluation. So what is meant by an argument, Aditi? In general, what do you know? If somebody asks you what is meant by an argument, how do you define an argument? What do you say?
When we have two people and there's one person who's probably opposing the ideas or views of another individual.
Right, exactly. So generally people say that don't argue with me. So when you have to argue with a person, when you have a different opinion, or when you want to manipulate that person, when you want to present some misleading information in a nice and presentable manner, then you have to argue with that person. So to understand more about an argument, you have to understand the term fact. Fact and argument are completely opposite. So what is a fact? For example, if I say sun rises in the east. So it's a fact. Everybody knows that. And there is no dispute in that. So how can a person make an argument? For example, one student, he said that, sir, I saw the sun on the west. Yesterday, I saw the sun on the west side. Therefore, sun rises in the west. So see how this student made an argument. The moment you look at this information, everything seems correct. Yeah, he saw the sun on the west side, perfectly okay. And sun rises in the west. So when you look at this argument, there is a gap between the first statement and second statement. So if you have to weaken this, if you have to correct this, how do you suggest?
It could be yesterday I saw the sun on the west side, therefore sun sets in the west, right? Rather than rising, maybe.
You can say that in order to see the rising sun, you have to wake up in the morning and see the position of the sun. Not at any other time.
Correct.
So you have seen this, you have seen the sun on the west side. It means you might have seen the setting sun, but not the rising sun. So when you have this subject knowledge, you can easily convince him and make him understand that your point of view is completely an argument and it is illogical. Okay. So this kind of arguments, you may understand that, sir, why these kind of arguments are given to me in the critical reasoning of GMAT, what kind of skill I develop. All these kind of arguments you generally hear um, in your routine life, in your work time, your managers, the company owners make this kind of arguments in order to take advantage from you or manipulate you. Especially the marketing managers, they make several arguments to make people purchase a product. So for that, if you have good critical thinking, you can easily understand the flaws present in their arguments and then make a informed decision, a wise decision. Right? Okay. So let me give you one example and then make you understand how this logical thinking is tested in the real-time exam. Now, do you have brothers, Aditi?
Yes.
So you have younger brother or elder brother?
I have an elder brother.
Elder brother, right.
Yeah.
I met your elder brother yesterday and he told me one argument. So the argument he made is, My sister is most kind-hearted person I have met. To prove that, I asked almost all of my family members and relatives who said very kind. Therefore, Aditi is right. So this is an argument made by your elder brother. Okay. So the moment we look at this information, yeah, it perfectly seems okay. She's the most kind-hearted person. And to prove that point, he presented information from his family members, all his relatives. They all said that Aditi is very kind. But in my point of view, this argument is a flawed argument. It is
Hmm.
not a correct argument. So can you tell me what is the flaw present in this argument?
Mhm. It's probably that uh, according to all the family members, relatives, and my brother, I could be kind, but I'm not the most kind-hearted, right? Of everybody. Like, according to some people, I may be, but not for all.
Right, very good. So in terms of some professional terms, in terms of the GMAT, you have to say that sample is not a representative of sample. Sample is not representative. What is meant by that?
Mm.
Sample is not representative means in order to see whenever you do a research on a particular topic, you have
Hmm.
to take a sample that is representative of the given research, isn't it?
Right.
If you take a sample that is completely irrelevant or biased sample, can that
Hmm.
sample prove the point?
No.
So whenever you do a research, you have to take a sample or you have to do research on, people who exactly belong to the given context, but not any other people, biased people. If you ask Indians, is India a good country? What do they say?
Yes.
They say, yes, it's a very good country, very nice country. That is how they boast about their country. So the sample is not a representative here.
Hmm.
So here, in order to prove that whether Aditi is the most kind-hearted person or not, you have to take a sample of family members on one side, friends, outside people also, okay, who really got some benefits from her, or who have no biased information, okay, who doesn't belong to her personally and professionally, who simply know her. So all this kind of sample, mixed sample, can give a proper picture of whether Aditi is a kind-hearted person or not. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. So let me check whether this logic sample is not representative is tested in the GMAT or not. I'm going to
Hmm.
present a real-time GMAT question in which you see the same logic tested.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you go through this question and give your answer, point your answer, okay?
Hmm. Hmm. My answer would probably be A.
Right. So why did you pick that as a correct answer?
I think it's because the question said volunteers from its staff, right? Which itself points out to the fact that people who will be trying work from home are people who want to do it, not like, not everybody who's probably not interested. So anyways, because it fits their interests and their lifestyle, their performance shouldn't, or their productivity shouldn't be impacted.
Mhm. Okay. So here they implemented one plan. So the plan is work from home.
Hmm.
Okay. And what kind of result they have got? They seen that productivity increase.
Okay.
So based on this information, now they are saying that the plan is a very good plan. Going for work from home is a good idea. But here, what kind of sample they have taken? That is what we have to look at. Okay, for example, if they
Right.
have taken a sample of people who are really hardworking people, sincere people. So
Hmm.
hardworking and sincere people, wherever you keep them, the
Hmm.
productivity will definitely be very good, isn't it?
Hmm. Correct.
So yes, so what kind of sample they have taken? Here, A answer says that the employees who agreed to participate are most self-motivated and independent workers. So here the sample is not a representative of the sample of the work.
Correct.
They have taken the most self-motivated and independent workers. If you take that kind of people, obviously they work, whether it is a work from home or whether it is work from office, they work
Yes.
efficiently.
Right. Makes sense.
That's why the productivity increase.
Hmm.
It's not because the plan is really a good plan. If you work from home, the productivity will be very high. If you work from office, the productivity will be lower. So what kind of sample they should have taken here? They should have taken a mixed kind of sample. For example, who are,
Probably people who are team. Yeah.
yeah, proceed. Please tell me.
Yeah, probably people like, who are team members, there when there is coordination that's involved in different teams, and also
Hmm.
maybe people who aren't choosing work from home themselves, right? Like they
Hmm.
would probably not choose work from home as an option. So you give them an option that you try it out and you see how it fits you, right?
Right,
Maybe that's the
exactly.
kind of example, yeah.
Yes. So see how that particular logic help you to find out a correct answer here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. So sample is not representative. You have whenever they give you a research point of question or research kind of argument, the first point you have to check is whether they have taken a correct sample or not.
Got it.
Very good. So this is how logical thinking can help you to find out a correct answer, not just for GMAT questions, but for question any kind of arguments made by your seniors or your colleagues, anywhere, wherever you go. Okay, right. Can you tell me what is the flaw present in this first example?
Okay, checking. Uh, Not able to find someone.
Okay, so you might have seen this kind of advertisement by several test
But
preparation companies. Okay, one of the companies, Jamboree. Jamboree, they always advertise by saying that we have highest number of 700 plus scorers than
hmm.
any other test preparation company. So students who don't have very good critical thinking, logical thinking, they feel that, yeah, this company seems to be a very good company because they are proving, they are saying that, they have highest number of 700 plus scorers. What more do we require to prove that this is a good GMAT company? Let me join this company.
Hmm.
But the marketing managers of this company, they have advertised in such a way that this is very manipulating. All the information given is correct. Okay, whatever the information, every point is correct. They every time mention the correct information only, because if somebody sue the company, if they are unable to present the facts, then they have to pay a lot of money, na? So for that, what they do is they present all the factual information only, but in a very manipulating manner, in a very deviating fashion, so that people can fall a prey for that. So in my point of view, there are two major flaws in this advertisement. Okay, so if you have good critical thinking, you can easily bring them out. Give one more try.
Is it is it the base of each company? Like they can have the highest number of 700 plus scorers, but they can just have like 10 people, but maybe other companies have 30, 40 students.
Right, brilliant. Exactly, very good. So here, the first flaw is you are saying that you have got highest number of 700 plus scorers. Okay. So out of how many students you provided training, you got this number?
Hmm.
For example, this company, they have got let it be some 1,000 students, got 700 out of 1 lakh students they provided training.
Yeah.
Okay, out of 1 lakh, they got 1,000 students, 700 plus. There is another company B. These people, they provided training to 600 students. Okay, and they got 450. 450 students got 700 plus. Out
Hmm.
of 600 students, they provided training. Now tell me which company is the best company?
The B company.
Yes, exactly. Very
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Hmm. Because they trained only 600 and they got 450.
Correct.
Whereas this particular prep GMAT, they provided training to 1 lakh students, and out of 1 lakh, they have got 1,000 students, 700 plus.
Hmm.
So see how they have hidden the data.
Correct. Hmm.
One. And the second logical flaw you can identify is, what is the establishment period? In how many years of establishment you got this number?
Correct.
For example, this PrepGMAT, it was established some 20 years ago. Within a span of 20 years, they have got this number. Whereas another company B, they have got this number within some 5 years span of time. So obviously B is the best company, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is how you have to start thinking logically. When you have changed your mindset into logical thinking, the questions of critical reasoning become easy for you. Okay, so every time, whenever you solve a CR question, the primary skill you require is logical thinking or critical thinking. Good. In the same way, can you identify some flaws in the second example?
I think it's what was the cause of the accident? Was the car at fault, or were the individuals at fault, or some other circumstance that led to the accident?
Whatever it is, generally, whenever you consider the safety of a car,
Yeah.
okay, what do you look at? How, what is the build quality of the car, isn't
Right.
it? Whether
Hmm.
it is mistake from the driver's side or whether it is mistake from any other person's side, they don't consider. Whenever you look at the safety of a car, you look at the build quality. If
Hmm.
somebody asks you what is the safest car available, people say generally Skoda. Skoda cars are very safe. They have a very good build quality when compared to Maruti Suzuki,
Okay. Hmm.
right? So you cannot ask that question. That is not a flaw. Okay, no problem. I'll help you. So now assume that you work for Tata company. Your
Hmm.
competitors, they are, advertising by saying that Tata cars are not safe. You have to defend your company, right?
Correct.
As a marketing manager, you have to defend your company. If you don't have a valid point, then you cannot defend your company. People believe that Tata cars are not safe. They propagate this information and consequently make a loss to your company. So if
Hmm.
I were you, I could have simply said that, okay, so you are saying Tata cars are not safe. What is the market share of Tata? What is the market share of? We have to know this point first of all. Why? For example, if Tata cars, they have 90% market share, it means 90% of cars available in the car market, they're of Tata brand only. Then what happens as a consequence? Most of the cars involved in accidents will be of Tata brand only, na? Because their market share is very high.
Correct. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Because their market share is very high. Here only there are three brands available. Tata sells 90% of cars, 5% Maruti Suzuki, remaining 5% some other brands like Skoda, Volkswagen. So because most of the cars purchased are of Tata brand, you obviously see cars involved in accidents are very high, which are of Tata brand.
Hmm.
So for that, you have to question what is the market share. If the market share is very high for this brand, obviously you see the cars involved in accidents very high. So based on that point, you cannot say that Tata cars are not safe. Right. Okay, so that is a logical flaw.
Hmm. Okay.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think yeah, makes sense. You need to know
Mm.
how many cars are actually being sold to establish.
Mm. Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Very good. See, that is why nowadays, when it comes to these airlines, there are
Hmm.
two major airlines. One is Indigo, one is Air India. Okay, because there are only two major players, there are so many complaints.
Right. Hmm.
There are so many complaints. Somebody say that Indigo is better than Air India. The moment you make that claim, you see number of complaints rising against Indigo. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because they have almost, a higher market share. Obviously, you see more number of, complaints against them. Perfect.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. So what I want to make you understand with these examples is logical thinking is more important. So
Hmm.
far, your, the education system you have been through simply taught you to mug up everything, the subject matter, keep the theory in your mind, go to the examination center, present that, and then get some good marks. That's it. It has not made you to think logically. So the GMAT especially focuses on that. You have to think logically and then make logical assumptions or make logical points in order to pick correct answers. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the critical reasoning, you need
Mm.
to understand some subject. Okay. The entire subject of critical reasoning. What is the theory present in critical reasoning? So they give you one argument like this, and below that you see a question and 5 options. So this short paragraph is called as an argument. There are different types of arguments: a normal argument, paradox argument, inference, and assumption. Based on the structure, they have been classified into these categories. And below that, you see the question stem, different types of questions. They may ask you what is the flaw present in the argument, how to weaken the argument, strengthen the argument. This is how different types of questions.
Mm.
So you should first of all understand different types of arguments. Then only you can prepare a proper answer for that question. If you don't have a knowledge of the type of argument, it may becomes bit tough for you, difficult for you to find a correct answer. So understanding the type of argument is very important. Do you have any idea on that? What types of argument? Types of argument means what?
No.
No, right? Okay, very good. And this is very, very important to understand what type of questions you get under a particular type of argument. For example, under a paradox type of argument, you won't get weaken or strengthen type of questions.
Okay. Mm.
Under paradox, you get only one question, which is explain the paradox, reconcile the paradox.
Mm. Got it.
So, preparing for critical reasoning of GMAT means you need to understand different types of arguments and different types of questions. Then you can properly prepare a correct answer to counter a question.
Mhm. Okay.
If you don't have that knowledge, things become very critical for you. You have to put a lot of effort to find out a correct answer. Right. Okay.
Mm.
So what I teach is in every session, I make you understand different types of arguments, different types of questions, how to find out a correct answer for each and every type of argument. Okay. So first of all, let me make you understand what is a normal argument. So a normal argument or a general argument means it has two components. Number one, premise. Number two, conclusion.
Mm.
So premise means information that is used to support the conclusion.
Yeah.
Information given to prove or support the conclusion. That is called as premise. So there can be several points. There can be 3 points, 2 points. They give you. All those points are called as premise, supporting information. And what is a conclusion? Conclusion means summary of entire argument. Simply the summary. After you have read the entire argument, whatever you feel this is a summary, extract, you regard that as a conclusion. Okay. So, and below a normal argument, you get 3 types of questions. You get 3 kinds of questions. Number 1, weakening an argument, strengthening an argument, evaluate. These are the 3 types of questions you encounter below a normal argument. Okay,
Mm.
so let us take some questions and make you understand what is a normal argument. Okay, so can you please read this information and tell me what are the premise and conclusions? Don't go to the options given.
Okay. I think the conclusion here is probably that they
First, tell
traffic,
me what is the conclusion? What is the
yeah,
conclusion?
congestion is much worse now than it was 20 years ago.
No.
Um, okay. Uh, okay. Is it that the complaints are unwarranted and then there is,
Right, exactly.
yeah, and then
So,
there are facts to prove it. Yeah.
hmm. So the conclusion of the
Mm.
argument is motorist complaints are unwarranted. That is a conclusion.
Okay, got it. Mm.
Hmm. So whenever you are given an argument like this, first of all, you have to understand that a lot of information is unnecessary. Okay, they give you a lot of information so that you miss what is the conclusion. If you don't understand the conclusion, you end up picking correct answer. So for that, the first thing you have to focus on is
Mm.
after you read the argument thoroughly, you
Mm.
have to learn one skill, which is deconstruction skill.
Mm.
Deconstruct the argument and identify the premise and conclusions, write them in the simplest forms possible.
Got it.
When you have this kind of deconstruction skill, things become easy for you. Otherwise, you will be distracted by so much unnecessary information and end up picking incorrect answer. Because while you are going through the options, how can you remember all this information and which point to be targeted, which point not to be targeted? You can't know that. Okay, so if I were you, I could have deconstructed the argument and written the premise and conclusions in the simplest forms in this way. So the conclusion is motorists' complaints of traffic congestion are invalid.
Mm.
So that is a conclusion. So how he made this conclusion? What is the supporting information he gave to prove that motorist complaints of traffic congestion are incorrect? Let me identify that. So the first point he said, uh, highway capacity tripled. Okay, highway capacity tripled. So if highway capacity tripled, obviously there cannot be traffic congestion, isn't it?
Correct. Mm.
Mm. So one supporting information. And second supporting information he gave, the number of automobiles registered in the country increased by only 75%. Generally, 75 is a very big number, but because of the word only, we have to think that author thinks that 75 is not a big number in his point of view. Okay.
Right.
So the number of automobiles registered simply increased by only 75%. Then where is the traffic congestion? There is no traffic congestion. Then why do you say that there is a traffic congestion? This is how the author says that motorist complaints of traffic congestion are invalid. New vehicle registration increased by only 75%. Yes. So see how I have simplified the entire argument. You also have to practice in this way in the initial days of your practice.
Yeah.
This kind of deconstruction will build up your reading and comprehending skills. In the real-time exam, you don't need to make. Your mind automatically makes deconstruction and gives you the information in short forms.
Right.
Mm.
Mm.
Perfect. So after I have identified, written the information in short forms, now I have to make a conclusion that what kind of argument is this? Okay, because there are premise and conclusions clearly mentioned, this is a normal argument. Okay, I identified the structure as a normal argument. Perfect. So what is the question asking you? Which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the argument? Okay, so weakening an argument. Weakening an argument means what? We have to prove that the given argument is incorrect. Given argument is incorrect. It means we have to go against the conclusion given. So what is the conclusion here? Motorist complaints of traffic congestion are invalid. Now we have to say that we have to state our goal. What we have to prove? We have to prove that motorist complaints of traffic congestion are valid. Traffic congestion complaints valid. That's it. So this
Mm.
is what we have to prove. Now we have to find out an answer that says that traffic congestion complaints are valid. Okay. So can you go through the options and tell me which answer says that?
Not sure, so no, not able to identify.
You can give a try. Why is that? See, you already learned one logic in the previous question. What is that logic? Sample should be representative, isn't it?
Correct.
What is meant by sample should be representative?
I think it's probably the comparison that they have,
Uh,
like before 20 year, like 20 years earlier and now.
Not exactly. Not in this context. I'm asking you in general. What is meant by sample is not representative or sample is a representative?
Biased, like it's biased or unbiased, like.
Whenever you did a research and
Hmm.
present your point, present the conclusion or present the results of a research,
Right.
we have to, first of all, what is the first point we have to check? What type of sample you have taken?
Correct. Okay.
Is a sample a representative sample or irrelevant sample?
Hmm.
So here, in order to prove that, they are saying the motorist complaints of traffic congestion are invalid. To prove that point, what is the sample they have taken? Tell me.
Highway capacity and their
Hmm.
registration of vehicles.
Based on these 2 points, they have made a
Hmm.
conclusion.
Okay.
So is this a correct sample or not? Check that. Na?
Okay.
So it's see the answers now and then check whether this is whether they have taken a correct sample or not.
A.
Why is that?
Because it says that the network of the roads and streets has changed very little. So there, the proof that they're giving that it's tripled is probably incorrect.
So most of the automobile travel is local.
Hmm.
Most of the automobile travel is local, but what kind of improvements you have brought in terms of highways?
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
If travel is mostly local, what is the point of improving the highways?
Correct. Hmm.
If you improve that won't solve the problem, na?
Correct.
Yeah. So they have tripled the highways, but most of the automobile travel is local. And moreover, the networks of roads and streets in the country's settled areas have changed little. They haven't brought any kind of improvement in terms of local roads and streets.
Got it.
Then definitely there will be traffic congestion problem because the sample you have presented here in order to prove the results is not representative. This is irrelevant sample.
Understood.
That's why A perfectly weakens the argument. Yeah. So with this question, what I want to prove is, see, you are learning logics, but
Hmm.
unable to apply that on a new sample of questions.
Right.
That comes with practice. Don't worry.
Hmm.
Okay, so whenever they give you one kind of research report, the first point you have to check is the sample representative or not? That's it. Okay, so this is a strategy you have to follow to solve any kind of CR question. In the initial days of your practice, I strongly recommend you to develop a deconstruction skill.
Hmm.
Identify the premise and conclusions, write them in the simplest forms, and after that, you have to state your goal. It means what I have to prove here. And after you have known what I have to prove, work from wrong to right. It means after you have read C answer, no, C answer doesn't prove that there is a traffic congestion. So C cannot be a correct answer. A D answer doesn't say that there is a traffic congestion problem. So D cannot. This is how you have to eliminate the wrong options first. And whatever you are left with is the correct answer.
Got it.
Very good. So in order to master the CR, you require these 4 skills, Aditi. The first skill is a very good logical thinking and a resource of different logics. I have a very good resource of different logics. So when you have them in your hand, you can apply them on a sample of questions and then quickly find out a correct answer. This is the first skill you have to gain. How can you gain that skill? By solving more and more CR questions, you gain those logics. There should be a correlation between number of questions you are solving, logics you are gaining. For example, by solving 2 questions today, you got one logic. What is that? The logic is sample should be representative in any kind of research. That is the logic you have gained. The second skill you have to build up is reading and comprehending skill. If you don't have a very good reading and comprehending skill of the given written material, how can you find out a correct answer? So for that, you should have a good knowledge of understanding of English, the written material. Some students, they say that, sir, I don't have good knowledge of the business related or marketing related questions because I studied biochemistry in my bachelor's. How can I solve this kind of questions? No, all the information given here is in general and it is written in English only. Then how can't you read that, understand that?
Hmm.
And third skill is a deconstruction skill. The moment you read any lengthy argument, you have to deconstruct and then present it in the simplest forms. Then things become easy for you. And finally, the process of elimination. You have to learn the process of eliminating the wrong options. You should not be deviated by the correct answer and closely related with that correct answer. Right. Very good. Okay. So in order to make you understand whether these skills are really required or not. Let me take some questions. Can you solve this question for me?
Mm.
So how do you solve? First of all, you read this argument, write down the basic structure in simple points.
Mm.
Okay? If I ask you what is the premise, what is the conclusion, you should be able to tell it in the simplest forms possible. And what you have to prove. If I ask you what have you tried to prove, you have to tell me your goal and tell me the correct answer, explain the correct answer with a proper logic.
Yep.
Okay, right.
Uh, is it C?
Okay, so first of all, tell me what are the premise and conclusions?
The conclusion that is laws to reduce tobacco cannot be proposed in Gandania.
Okay. And supporting information is?
That profit of like the profit from the sales are 10% of the revenue.
Right, very good. So if I were you, I could have written the premise and conclusions in this one.
Hmm.
So let me replace the word Gandania with Mumbai. Let me take the name
Hmm.
as Mumbai for convenience. So in Mumbai, government sells tobacco Or government has a authority on tobacco sales and everything. Okay, first point they mentioned. And after that, they said profits from tobacco account for 10% of
Mm.
revenue of Mumbai. So tobacco related issues, health issues are coming. Health issues in Mumbai. Mumbai wants to stop selling tobacco, but that's not possible. Why that is not possible? Because 10% of revenue is coming from tobacco sales only. That accounts for 10% of revenue of Mumbai. Then how can I jeopardize that? How can I risk that profit? If
Mm.
if I lose that 10% of profits from tobacco sales, then Mumbai, I have to compromise the infrastructure. I have to compromise the developments that should be happened in Mumbai. So for that, I cannot stop selling tobacco in Mumbai. So the conclusion is Mumbai cannot afford for tobacco ban.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Now the question is asking us to weaken the argument. Okay, so weakening an argument means we have to go against the conclusion given. The conclusion says that Mumbai cannot afford tobacco ban. Now we have to say that no, we should ban tobacco. Why are you saying that we cannot afford tobacco ban? We should ban tobacco. So find out an answer that logically says that we should ban tobacco. Okay, so is C answer saying that? Tell me what is your logic behind picking C as a correct answer.
I think what my logic was that regardless of the health issues, right? People are
Mhm.
seeing that their health issues are rising, but regardless of that, people buying tobacco has not changed, right? So they're still continuing to buy, and even if mm, mm, mm,
So here C answer says that the percentage of revenue Mumbai receives from tobacco sales has remained steady. Okay, so steady means what? Previously 10%, now also 10%.
yeah,
Okay, if it is declining, I would have definitely mentioned that our profits are declining. Don't ban the tobacco. What is the use?
correct, okay.
If it is steady, no, then how can that be a point to say that you can ban tobacco? Isn't it?
Because it's remaining the same. So that's
Same means same is
we are
good
not
thing.
having a loss in any way that
Ah,
less money is coming or something like that.
yeah. If
Okay.
less
Hmm.
money is coming, then you can afford to ban the tobacco.
Okay.
So for that, C cannot be a logical answer to prove
Um,
that we can ban tobacco.
okay. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Profits from tobacco sales. It's not D because
Mhm.
if it surpass everything else, then obviously it's a significant amount. So
Profits from tobacco sales far surpass any other single source of revenue for the Gandania Mumbai government. It means profits from tobacco sales surpass any other single source of revenue. So it means what? The profits from tobacco are the highest profits than
Correct.
any other resource. So
Correct.
it is supporting. Okay, it is supporting by saying that
We cannot
Mumbai,
ban.
uh,
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
cannot. So
Or
D
D
cannot be a correct.
also. Yeah.
I can give you one simple example. Okay, one logic
Hmm.
I can teach you. Now you are earning some amount of money. Monthly, you are earning 50,000 rupees. Okay,
Yeah.
so and you give that money to your parents. Every month you give 50,000 rupees to your parents. Okay. And now what you are saying is, see, Mummy, Papa, I'm giving you 50,000 rupees every month. Okay. So I want to go to MBA program. So the MBA program costs some 50 lakh rupees. Okay. Then what your parents will think, you are simply giving only 50,000 rupees, but I have to invest 50 lakh rupees. I am losing a lot of money here when compared to the income you are giving to me. This,
Hmm.
this is how we have to, balance the profit and loss, isn't it?
Correct. Hmm.
In the same way, you also have to look at that point.
Okay, so it's probably B then, because if we are implementing laws, then the amount of money that's coming in via exports also does not change.
Implementing the proposed laws is not likely to
Mhm.
cause a significant increase in the amount of tobacco exports. So how is that? What is the logic behind that? Whether it increase the exports or doesn't increase the export, uh,
Doesn't impact.
Uh,
Yeah.
doesn't impact. Okay, I'll give one more example to you. I told you that, Aditi, you prepare for 22 hours a day, you will definitely get 700 in GMAT.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prepare 22 hours a day, you will get 700. Then what do you say? How do you counter my point? Weaken my point.
Mm.
Prepare 22 hours a day, you will get 700 in GMAT. इतना सोचना है आपको, इतना छोटे सा ही सिंपल एग्जांपल.
uh,
बस सिंपल. आप क्या बोलते हैं? अरे पागल हो गए सर, 22 आवर
नहीं
पढ़े
होगा.
तो 700 आएगा नहीं आएगा पता नहीं है, मेरा हेल्थ
20 तो
पूरा
नहीं
का
होगा. करेक्ट. हाँ.
हेल्थ हेल्थ खराब हो जाता है. अगर हेल्थ खराब हो गए तो एग्जाम ही नहीं दे सकता हूँ ना, सिंपल.
हम्म.
हाँ, ऐसे ही सेम. Related to these two examples I have given you, look at.
So to then there's E only because nobody has ever done it. Very similar to, I don't know.
Okay, I'll help you for that.
Loss.
Okay. Uh, So see here, why Mumbai
Hmm.
cannot ban the tobacco? Why they are, saying that no, we cannot afford banning tobacco? What is the primary reason?
Hmm.
What is the primary reason? I'm asking you. Why Mumbai cannot afford tobacco ban? Why they are unable to go for the plan?
Because 10% of their profits are coming from
Yes, exactly.
that.
That is the
Like the
reason.
revenue is coming. Yeah.
Uh, Now assume that all the hospitals in Mumbai are government funded. It means all the healthcare is taken care of by the government only.
Hmm.
Now tell me what happens. You are not banning the tobacco. Because of tobacco, what is happening? The problems related to this increasing. If
Correct.
problems, health related problems are increasing, the people
Hmm.
will go and admit in hospitals. If people go and admit in hospitals, who has to pay the money?
Government.
Government has to pay the money.
Yeah.
If government has to pay the money, then is that an expense or income?
Expense.
Expense. On
Hmm.
one side, they are getting 10% revenue.
Income.
On the other side, they might be spending some 50% in terms of, healthcare.
Hmm.
Then where is the profit?
Correct. It's all getting balanced.
Yeah. So which answer is saying that?
Hey, understood.
Yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
all healthcare in Mumbai is government funded. So if all healthcare is government funded, then the government has to pay for the healthcare problems of the citizens.
Correct. Hmm.
Hmm.
Understood.
You are simply thinking only 10% of revenue you get from tobacco sales, but you are not thinking about the expenses you have to pay for the healthcare. Yeah. So see why you couldn't understand in that way.
Hmm.
So this is what logical
Correct.
thinking. So when you solve a question teaches you so many things. Okay, many students, they complete all the resources but get nothing out of it. Why? Because they solve the questions only for the sake of GMAT. You have to solve the questions not for the sake of GMAT, but for the sake of building up your logical thinking skills. Do you agree?
Yep. Hmm.
Hmm. So see how these three questions taught you those things. So whenever they talk about profits and loss, na, you also think about profit and loss only.
Understood. Hmm.
Hmm. Very good. So whenever you want to weaken, we can apply different strategies. Okay, the strategies are simply you can raise a doubt. By raising a doubt, um, you can weaken that point. For example, I said, Aditi, by simply preparing for 15 days with me, you can score 700. How do you weaken? By raising a doubt. What kind of doubt you can raise? Just in general, you can tell me. I said, by simply preparing for 15 days with me, you can
Hmm.
score 700. This is an argument I have made. So how do you weaken my argument?
I mean, has it happened before? How many hours in each?
No, no, no. You have to raise a doubt. Raising a doubt means what? Sir, I have one doubt. You are saying just prepare for 15 days.
Hmm.
Sir, 15 days means, sir, there are so many things I have to do. Okay, your teachings will go for 15 days. I have to take the mock exams. I have to prepare for mathematics. I have also some, work related things. Daily, I have to go to my company. I have my own personal things. How can I do all these things within 15 days, sir?
Got it.
See how I am raising a doubt.
Hmm.
So by raising a doubt, you can weaken. So find out an answer that raises a doubt on the given conclusion, or
Hmm.
automatically the argument becomes weakened. Okay, and in the same way, you can question if somebody says that this is correct, you question that with some logics and you criticize, dismissing the evidence. So these are all different techniques in order to weaken a given argument. So in every session, I'll be teaching you these concepts. Okay, right. So let us take one more question.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the first thing I mentioned, you require four skills. Now, one is what? Logical thinking and a resource of different logics. So if you have good logics, number of logics in your hand, you can counter any CR question. So with that example question, I proved that resource of logics very, very important. Okay.
Right.
And second is reading and comprehending skill. If you don't have a very good reading and comprehending skill, then finding a correct answer for CR questions become difficult. So to prove that point, let me present one question for you. Because many students, they cannot find a correct answer because they couldn't understand the argument at all. Okay. So
Yeah.
can you give a try on this?
Yep. I think it's E.
What are the premise and conclusions?
According to me, the conclusion that Perkin is citing is that what um, no, one second. Basically, that man hunting did not cause the animal extinction that was there.
So we can say that mammoth's extinction is not because of humans hunting.
Hunting.
Mm. So for this, what is the supporting information they gave?
One that there was no spearhead that they
Mm.
found in the
Mm.
bone.
Right. No spearheads have been found in those hunted regions. Perfect. So this is very similar to one example I can give. Okay, the example I can give is I said Aditi says she's a computer engineer, but I don't believe her. Aditi is not a computer engineer. So not a computer engineer. So why she's not a computer engineer? Why did I feel that? Because I couldn't find a computer in her home.
Yeah.
So, because I couldn't find a computer in her home, she's not a computer engineer. So how do you weaken my statements? How do you weaken my argument?
Maybe I kept the computer elsewhere or I've given it to someone for a while.
You can say that,
It's not
see,
there at that point. Yeah.
computer is present in my office.
Yeah.
Computer is present in my office. I don't work at home. That's why I don't have computer in my home. So how can you say that I'm not a computer engineer by simply based on information that I don't have a computer at home? That is how you can counter. Yeah.
Right.
So in the same way, here we have to prove that mammoth's extinction is because of humans hunting only. Why are you saying that it's not because of humans hunting? It is because of humans hunting only. Because you couldn't find spearheads in those hunted regions, you cannot make a conclusion like this. So many students, they fail to find out a correct answer because see the question here, they don't understand that, discounting the evidence.
Yeah.
What is meant by discounting evidence, sir? I could not understand that. This is how they feel. Okay. But here, very simple, arguing against. If you don't understand the meaning, you eliminate that. Hmm. Strongest reason for arguing against the contention that, okay, contention, I don't know the meaning. No problem, eliminate that. Arguing against that being hunted by humans contributed to the North American extinction of woolly mammoths. Okay, simple. So in the same way, whenever you don't find the meaning of a particular word or phrase, you eliminate that. If it still makes sense, you can go ahead. Okay, good. So what is the logic behind picking E answer?
So what I understood from the question, like what the question they're asking is that what I'm supposed to prove is that just because the spearhead wasn't there, it did not mean that they weren't killed by humans.
Hmm,
So I was looking for an option that would probably explain why the spearhead is absent. So one
exactly.
that fit most was E, that they
Hmm,
took it out when after they killed. So E.
right, exactly. So very similar to the example I have given here. Aditi is not
Yeah.
a computer engineer. So very good. So this is how you have to find out an answer with a proper logic, Aditi. Good.
Mhm.